can't tell you what an honor it is to be here. You brave people who tell your truth. Even when you make things up, even when you fantasize, you're still speaking your truth, and it is an honor to be among you. I cannot tell you, in this world where so many things are built on lies, your company, your kindness, your truth, we get to hear so beautifully. Thank you, my friends. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Brother Finn. I have some stuff for you that I hope will not only scandalize you, but make you think and laugh at the same time. So here we go. This, in the insanity that is healthcare in my country, my globe, in this insanity, they fought to keep alive a woman whose brain was done. And the religious right fanatics insisted that her body be kept alive. So there's this. This is called for Terry. Terry, if I cough, shut me off. If I bleed, sign the deed. If I blink, don't even think. If I groan, send me home. If I choke, send the rope. If I faint, I'm a saint. If I snore, shut the door. Heart attack, send me back. If I burp, time for turf. If I itch, dig the ditch. If I sniff, what's the diff? Can't hardly rigor, hire a digger. Getting worse, hire a hearse. No longer brave, just dig a grave. Begin to doubt, send me out. Can't hardly whisper, read the Vespers. Can't seem to hear, pour the beer. Can't budge or burgeon, call the surgeon. Can't lose no weight, then just cremate. Don't stop the worry, don't wait, just bury. I seem in the way, just throw me away. Taking up space, it's time for grace. Don't wait, don't pause, don't read the third clause. Just pull the plug, shake the rug, and yank the tube. It's not even rude. Pull the plug, don't be a slug. The game's all done. Hey, you can use a gun. And to go from death to sex, because of course that's why we're all here. One way or another. No test tube babies out there yet, honey. So I've got this. A scene from nature. Imagine out there on the patio, two lovely black snakes in that eternal embrace. This is called Two Black Snakes. Like two black snakes writhing, striving in the sunny garden's glare, bearing, daring, we shed our clumsy skins, embracing, clinging together, dangling in a moment over life's edge, grappling, deep in love's sweet frenzy, clinging, breaking, joining, rejoining, collapsing, an ardent bee, furious at their flower, the shining above, the sun above, granting its hot blessing, warming to fire these furious enthusiasms, coils abounding, legs, arms, grappling, striving in each new fresh unity, and the terrible, marvelous tastings, the flicking, darting tongues, tracing in drunken, ecstatic dance and trance, oblivious in its fevered favor, one, the whole world caught in a moment's rushing time, crushed in our coiled embrace, the taste, no finer wines thine, on our garden's grassy mat, the flying carpet cast, soaring and diving, beloved, above the dancing grassy forest, we, deep in the bosom of the earth, our thirst unquenched, we reach, wrenching each coiling complete in its breathless dance. And for the religious among us, and I count myself one, a student of comparative religion, I wanted to find out what the hell the deal was. This is called blasphemer, crush proof, or soft pack. No fear, too dear, to impress his plan, a planet man, no doubt out loud, harping on Knott's insanity. He fairly primed my vanity. He called me really crazed. Well, am I wrong? It seemed like praise. He shouted of his rocker. I demurred and murmured, talker. He leapt and shrieked, he's mad. I brazen beamed, damn glad. Pointing, he laughed far gone, and from the swan that awoke to dawn would hardly believe it done. But he went on from there to insist, and thus a feint, I saint. A cynic smile wreathes round our necks to poison God and tend to garden snakes. This next one, again, I trigger warning for all those out there who, who miss hate. There's just not enough, So this is called ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing, that's our plan. If he can't do it, Hitler can. Ethnic cleansing can't be beat. If he can't do it, it's Mona Lisa's treat. Ethnic cleansing sure is fun. Ask the Bosnians if they've had the time to kick a Serb or Croat butt. If they don't run out of shells and scuds, you're out of luck. Ethnic cleansing sure is swell. See you on the road to hell with Castro, Stalin, Chou En-lai, and even the butchers of Peking must die. Kurds or Kuwaitis, Muslims to Mecca, Ahus and Pygmies, Amazonian Indians in the wrong place. Now what can we do? Such a mistake. Ethnic cleansing comes in handy, though there's Rio's alleys, children. Forced adoption seems alright. At Berlin's wall in soldiers' sight. Ask any honest Honecker, keeping the boundary good and tight. Ethnic cleansing sure is reet. Tell it to the Jewish meat. Cattle cars and train timetables. Ask him if the Palestinians deserve a homeland and just check the number on the forearm. Ethnic cleansing's great for some. Ask the Serbs if the Congo drums and mingle from Johannesburg or echo in Somaliland, tears or told. At the cleansing, does the Khmer Rouge keep it grin and the Gulags tempt the Cossack? Will it keep him sending back the Kremlin vermin, the well-known East German? Ask an East or Western German. Ethnic cleansing will see us through. Who cares if the bombing opens the ceiling? Ethnic cleansing's God, it's appealing. Does the Arab love the Jew just like the Koran tells him to? Does the Jew to Arab aspire and build a taller tomb of ancient ire? Ethnic cleansing fills the time with Irish Catholics seeking frothy jets of Protestant rhyme. The Hindus seek to the wrongs ladled by the Amrid throng. Muslims and Mussulman mime. The Kurdish refugees seek Shiite shrines and burn it in Beirut's incense. The Lebanese hashlings, milky Maronites muster great gassy passes, make Iranian-Syrian problems clashes. Fundamentalist confusion tuned the tumor tremulous contusion on hank-headed rebel sashes. Slash seek refugees in marginal Irish landings. Beach balls bombing the signal neighbors Afghani Pakistani climb over the ancient rages jungle vines range the Himalayas peaks while Tibetan in Lhasa hides and creeps and the Negro and Nebrolians Korean shoppers drop but cut changeling wilder ranging stages. Ethnic cleansing is the plan if you can do it. Ethnic cleansing, he's our man. If he can't do it, Ku Klux Klan. Mother Teresa's not listening just now. Sober stuff. But that's okay. We've got a solution. We've got homeland defense. Now, never in this particular country were terms like homeland security ever used. But then we had burning bushes. So here we go. This is called homeland defense. Between the kings of Saudi oil, who Shell and Exxon dare not despoil, those of Wall Street's fiscal toil, where betting against the working man guarantees a stock's demand. And Desert Prince, with generous eye, holds court intense, and gas station cards shall pay the rent. Does the oily hand of GH's show, old CIA man still in control, pass the ID cards, but not a fakin', this way from true American icon shaken? Your face will now be pre-recorded, and all your flights will now be boarded. Arm the pilot, the stewardess too. Next to the pillow and the barf bag's fun, all passengers now will be issued guns. For a shootout in the airy blue. Oh, what just a single day can do. I picture the Stewie, tray in her hand, confronted by the wanted man. She tosses the tray into his face, spins on her arm and kicks him trace. He rolls across the cart to a Boy Scout troop who truss him up and steal his boots. His arm behind his back's now tied, and bounce him to the choir side, who pummel, pillage, then retire, and all those who are watching were inspired. Then a group of Civitan asked for a few fingers from his hand. But this brownie troop wants his bushy beard. You should have heard the things I heard. Then an old monk, a Jesuit, gave him twice a goodly kick, and the secretary gets him with her bick. Though the pilot and co-pilot were vying for priority. They submitted their decision to the vote of the majority. Some wanted to toss him right out the door, but a cloister of nuns still wanted some fun. They dragged him back to the airplane's tail, and the rugby team ran him back to the gale. Up to the galley where they banged his head 2 or 3 times on the oven's lid, and a group of congressional aides in first class pulled out every hair from his ass. A covey of comedians dove right in with a left and a right to his nose and his chin, and a group of traitors down from Duluth pushed him and mashed him into the roof. Some ceiling ties in an overhead bin broke when they tried to stuff him in. But let this be remembered and never forget. Don't ever wait till your library book's late. And so on. Now, Finn, I'm going to ask you, sir, brother, would you please record this? And I go to a place, many of you have seen great mountains of trash outside our cities. Aren't they lovely? Don't they just bring the joy of consumerism to your heart? So I wrote this tribute to a mountain of trash south of Miami, so gigantic, the towns 10 and 15 miles away can smell it when it seethes and soothes in the summer tropical sunshine. It's gorgeous, but that's okay though. They offered him some perfume. So here we go. This is called Up on Garbage Mountain. Up on Garbage Mountain, along the Biscayne Bay, although the seagulls stop for dinner, they seldom fly away. It would seem a foul idea to build it up so high. It's not so wise to leave out all that garbage, filing higher, vaster, wide. Mountainous high, street glazes, heat, hassle, hazes, layers, strumming, summing, suns drumming, heating, stuffed, surprise. Trucks take dumps on hasty humps, leak, laughing, pungent snares, vapors, drifting, wafting, lifting, sifting through the air, waves, welling, falling, smelling up the air. Don't rush right up or drink the cup without a seal-tight mask to wear. We don our yellow gloves there, our acid-tested boots, completely airtight overalls, and air-conditioned suits, with special pressure steel-toed boots amid the gushing whoosh. The bugs are mighty strange there. We've quite a special strain. The chemicals they've hatched in resemble acid rain. They carry mighty virus, sure, a highly aggressive brood, so do not park your car nearby. They've acquired a taste for tires. Radials are good. The roaches that survive there have carborundum shells, and when they fly from place to place, falling, sparking trails are traced. The mud that moves, we call it. Watching some crawl by, don't get any on your shoe or poke it with your stick. One thing you find amazing is it reaches cloud-rimmed Olympic heights. There's one thing good that it can do: bring into a tourist well-earned view a look at that strange and bloated large a Jersey and a garbage barge, ripe as homeless and as sad a sight as a garbage truck out of luck and gas with a year's young load of your own waste. Like the taste? And now, this, my friends, many of us are concerned because when people have to do like begging to get health care, we hear on TV all that, oh, we're doing a fundraiser because Bobby has a toothache, because people can't afford care. There's something wrong with this system where people can't afford care. But I offer you this, my friends. In a moment of cynicism and delight, I offer you, please, don't change our Darwinian healthcare system. Maybe the sick should just die. I've heard them complain on the bus and the train, and the cough and the stress, adding their mess, flailing, postponing their calm and their rest, denying the end, calling on friends. Maybe the sick should just die. Oh, how all their screeching has battered my brain, and the yowling and moaning and screaming and groaning, the toing and the froing without pause or restraint. Maybe the sick should just die. They parade to the hospital and clog up the halls with their slips and their falls and their legs in cast, and more than that, they teeter on crutches, slowing me down with their coughing and sneezing and their crappy old wheezing. My word, it's not pleasing. Maybe the sick should just die. Insurance rates and mental states, implants and valves, upgraded joints and arterial stents. Can't they take a hint? Maybe the sick should just die. Surgeons galore, doctors by the score, orthopedists and what's more, pancreas, appendix, replacement kidneys and those tricks, x-rays, MRIs, ultrasound and radiation. Seems they stop at every station and they mess up the nation. Maybe the sick should just die. All the pills and the potions, the extravagant notions of fellowship, stop the commotion. What a trip, let her rip. Maybe the sick should, just die. Commercials round the clock, drug cures, chock-a-block. Just take this stuff on your duff, my pillow's fluff. Maybe the sick should just die. If you can't be repaired, society must declare, maybe the sick should just die. Medicaid, Medicare, never find enough there. CEOs are not paying despite all the brain waste and their bad taste. Maybe the sick should just die. But now that we've been talking about dying, let's talk about getting high. I bet one of two out there of you good people have probably inhaled, if you know what I mean. So this, my friends, is a small tribute to the loveliest flower that we've ever rolled some cigarette papers around. This is called Medicale Medicinale Marijuana. So I hope you're scandalized. Medicale Medicinale Marijuana, that first rough joint, swollen and choking, the friendly circle, friends daring some dear dread danger, sharing a confidence from hand to hand, from lip to sip, even in balance from hind to mind, caring, careful, measured moments of miraculous Mary's hot breath. Leafy green, or dried and dusty brown, bushy bud or leaf, the jagged reaching leaves, mind sieves replace out-minded signs, the interruptive stems, the blast berries of brown beetles, seedling bombs, flowering buds, gold bowing bundles of bright brain food, rude to break up stodgy draughts of thoughts. Leafy powder, pinch to pipe, that our first forest time, sitting, friended in the woods, off the road, mere mute minutes from the madness, and then the giggles, gladness came, the raining gales of honest home-baked humor, cage-breaking, bar-bending, balloon bubbles of blue-gray, brain-shaking, noise with joys. Did the sleeper awake? What did it take? How gradually, the thoughts unclots, 10 turn time, global grandeur sees scenes, unveiling prevailing schemes, larger circles concede, indeed the creed replaced with grace. Papers, drapers, rappers, clappers, brain-breaching snappers, slaps, sentient, sapient seekers, tricking treaters, remove the tile task mask, sifting on an album book, the look as seeds tumble south. Please plant these striving lives to solid soils embrace, bright place roots reaching, consciousness uncontaining brain rockets. From these short sections of fine leaf selections, are your papers in order? Are they gummed? Were they flavored to match the merry march? Who has papers? Who has the catching March matches? Who can roll the droll tally troll? Mighty merit badges for new ages, sages, skills among the circle pride and pure brotherhood builder of the 8 ashes compliant complaint. The rituals, the victuals, glorious victuals, find the source, sift the course, separate the weeding seeds of need in the stem tides decamped ride. Those massed explosive spasms reveal revelry, the deviltry of tiny shirt-stained holes. Who knows what incense the fire's wires flow, twitch tumble of volcanic passion, humble, crashy, crumble splash, where the pitched part plan of the tribal circle clan. Who knows and who doesn't? Who knows the code, roads, the rules, tools, rolling papers and pipes, the types of pipes, the grassy glass, the gonging bong, the casual co-opted tobacco pipe, corncob, meerschaum, or the specialty antique clay, from bitty metal nettle disguise to bright blasting plastic bongs, the recycled fruity station, ordered orange to apple pipe, to metal tipped toilet tube roll, the concert scene where you brought jays to burn and yearning, jarring jays to share the dare, crackling on the firing line from handed man to partial seatward chum and row-wise warder. No hoarder hides the wide truth with lining hidden lies, subdued for you. The wide texture, the range of colors and textures, dark green and pale green, dry, cracking, sticky brown, amber, reddish, pale green, leafy, pressed, rock solid, powdery to sticky piney pitch, the itch, loose baggy leaves or rosy red buds with whiter trim delight. Papers, zigzag flavored strawberry, coconut, thin, fragile, heavy as canvas. Ah, the Frenchy fine, the toppers working stiff, old friend of 1.5, 1.25, or just a single solitary serious one. To daring share the sunlight repeals the stealing ash. Can you bowl and roll a joint that draws well and doesn't run? Every burning bud draws well without sending falling orange gold glitter hail in the debris that doesn't shower your sweetheart's knees with charming bejeweled sparks. The stem that starts and pokes like jokes through the paper draper rolls to push unburned protruding root beyond the bastion of the sacred flames, trailing shrine in time, though thou hast added flame and kisses. Encircled, outcircling the flames that untamed Turk inside, and as the rings of smoke surround and the blue-tinged ribbons curl, confound, and tease from dreamy eyes new vistas hipsters spy, or even ephemeral, cleverer rivers with misty, wispy, tree-lined budding bloom. Winding creeks of freaks, the girling wisps, which tease and taunt the grasping spouts, thrust beyond the trust, thought-carrying clouds, breaking up buds, long wispy tendrils of buddy bloom, cried drumps of brown and golden bud, bud that breaks into crushed dust, buds that sticky clump and only prying fingers find, stingily reduce the bundle to pipe-fitting kindling. By the J for the day, by the nickel bag that was a box, by three-fingered bags that memory lagged in this careful measured blossom, that tossed on sacred bedside bounce the ounce, and when on some teenage night the Freddy pound was pounced, fresh wrapped from the smuggler's catch, that dearly dissects the dense delight, which press for shipment, these victorious blooms of heaven's bounty blossoms begin when unconfined to reach your salient mind, and then beyond, whose gradient of radiant defining silent power train your reaching teaching brain to stretch out past outposts of the common drumming, mind the climb where grander vistas undefined that catch and tease toes tiny thoughts to those galing laughs of unveiling laughter, rafters often having laughed last the loss of glittered littered dross, the little lie of alone. Oh, call the sacred circle nigh, and bell bring bright brain berries, fairies music march, and catch the fetching light incense folds the rolls of blue smoked wings my chariot holds to heaven high or treasured seaside tidal wash. Medicale medicinale marijuana. And now, for the final shock, imagine I bring you, my friends, a tribute. Now, I got to give you the backstory. I belonged to a poetry circle at one point in Florida, and there was wonderful stuff, as there is everywhere. But there was one chap who was one of those one joke ponies, right? He had one poem, he read it every time. I knew him for 6 months. Every week he would read that one poem. It was about eating ice cream sundae off his naked lover. Now, sounds like fun to me. But over and 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 over, we learned and pictured and all that. But I decided to write an alternative. So I wrote this. This is called Dancing Round the Nipple Brown. You'll get my point. Dancing round the nipple brown. While some may prize the thighs, I'm impressed by the breast. And though a good behind may cross my mind, the nipple's best atop the breast. And some will swoon at the ankle's turn. Upon my brain the brown button burns and leaves me much impressed, the nipple high upon the breast. An areola peeking there beyond the dress's blush can cause the average man's blood to leap and rush. But just a push against the dress of the pouty, pointy part of breast catches my attention, holds it there, though with might and main not stare at the pretty mountain there, the best of the breast, the nipple spot, that's a lot. And while all the territory there surrounded by areolas bumpy bare will bring my mind's attention close, and with my praying lips will buss and boast and close so gently breath will dance, close hands clasp lips and tonguing trace the very height and breadth of place, the nipple soft and round and tall, surmounting all the blooming breast of white and tan and blue tinged breast. The pinnacle of breasty truth, the taller canter's straightened youth. When pressed by lips and well tongued dance, to bring a deeper, warmer trance, and burns my lips to taunt and tease, with gentle rigor loosen knees. With dreamy focus I'm entranced by the nipple's sturdy, ruddy stance, and tickled there, milady's pleased enthusiasm's heady please, and fingered, lingered slow with well-tongued taste, and slowly, slowly circling, budding, builds the taste, and those pounding hearts begin to race beneath as breath begins to rise, as nipple does to taller size. The nipple seed that sees with tender tongued touch can speak so loud and say so much. Though hair for some excites and pleases, and necks for those or toes don't see them, others find in light of eye the sunum bunum of the prize. But nipples, I, with nimble, nibbled, treble, tripping tongue, say I, that's where the prize is won. Though later, as raptures roll and scented deeds unroll the scroll, and ladies' legs and men's entangle needs of seeds, after peaks of passion pour the paint, and patient partners gasp and faint, it remains there to lure and lead the nipple, stare and beg to bless, with my gentle tongue and lip to press a salute to the nipple. And speaking of containment, I leave you one final thought. Many of you know that there are places, there are countries that, have begun to realize that marijuana is really no big deal. And yet we all know people who have been captured, prisoned, etc., etc. This was a tribute to somebody I knew who was jailed for selling marijuana. This is called They Put Harry Away. They said he sold flowers and did the delivery, and now his life is forfeit to 12 kinds of trickery. He was torn from bride and babe because in the service that he gave, pleasures and powders in the budded bloom, and his time has been cramped now into a tiny angry room with thieves and murderers and 10 types of doom. He didn't murder, he didn't steal. He just sold flowers with aplomb and zeal, that a man could be stolen and thrown in the dock because he aided and abetted the brain's thirst for shock. And now, all enemy to the ticking of clocks. He sold flowers, that's what they said. He spent the last year in a hole like he was dead. No one to speak with, no smile, no friend, like one in the grave for this little bend. He didn't steal $1 million or two. He didn't sell secrets or a military clue. He didn't burn a forest wide. He didn't poison water and pollute the tide. He didn't poison soldiers or put them at risk. He didn't steal money from widows and twist an orphan with the bleak black bread who goes hungry then to bed. If only he'd stolen 10 million or more, he'd be jailed. For his jail, he'd have a golf course with a marble door. He didn't take bribes or belay the people's trust. He just sent flowers for them that lust, for a little flower powder to dress their day. For them, there's the piper they made him pay. If he sent 1,000 troops to a scentless war, he'd be basking with the Pentagon with gold by the score, bade and beckoned to share his wit for every simple salesman and TV twit. But for flowers, his youth is gone and fled, down to the doomy cells and stony floors red. If he stole power and traded stocks like a bandit, he'd be riding in a limousine with caviar if he could stand it. If he only sold missiles offshore to some enemy flaunted and wanting some more, he'd get a contract and great buckets of gore. But, like all the prisoners who sold flowers and spent their pen all those precious hours, they stole his life till it faded like dusk, and wandered and wasted in the gray gloom stony crust, constrained and contained, all their lives spent a waste, to leak out like spoiled fruit unabated in chase. How few the hours allotted to men to see them all cheated and thrown down like pins. And the enemies of flowers steal hours like thieves, and the seconds and minutes in all of that grief. The political prisoners have been eaten, and Harry spent all last year in a hole. Think of all that's been taken from them, these prisoners of flowers, these prisoners of men. And who will those stainy, hard hearts open, listen to the kind of art that freedom can win? People like flowers, they dress up the day. Don't take the dream merchants and lock them away. And when you take that next little puff and exhale the smoke, send the thought of freedom to those without hope.
Woo!